Welcome to the 2014 Intramural Indoor Futsal Captains video. This video will assist you as you pass the Captains quiz and prepare for the Intramural Indoor Futsal season. This video is not required to be watched by captains, but failure to watch the video is not a viable excuse for not knowing intramural sports program or indoor futsal sport rules or regulations. The first thing we want to talk to you about is the E-Checkup to Go program as a part of intramural sports. This is an online confidential alcohol assessment that provides an incentive for intramural participants to get their registration fees refunded to them. If 75% of your team's final roster completes the alcohol assessment and has it submitted to intramural sports, has a verification submitted to intramural sports, a refund will be processed to the team captain's U-bill following the end of the playoffs of the indoor futsal season. Details for this incentive are available on the Intramural Sports website. Our Director of Intramural Sports is Tommy Shore, and additional staff members are Graduate Assistants Drew Dunlay and Clint Angus as far as programming for intramural sports, and our Initiatives and Recruitment Graduate Assistant is Taylor Ulrich. We have 9 student supervisors that are pictured on the screen now that will be at the game sites to help assist you and answer any questions you have, not only about indoor futsal but about intramural sports overall. If at any point you have any questions about anything related to intramural sports, find one of the intramural supervisors or staff members and we will be happy to assist you. Some responsibilities we have of our team captains are to make sure that teammates are eligible. So those on your team have to be eligible according to the intramural policies we'll talk about in a little bit. We also need you as team captain to make sure your teammates know sport and program rules and regulations. It is difficult for our officials and our staff if the participants don't know the program and sport rules and regulations that they must follow. And if we need to contact you for any reason from the intramural office, you will be our contact for your team. Some rules changes for our program in 2014 include roster additions. Players may be added to a team roster up until 15 minutes prior to the scheduled game time. That is different from deadlines that were earlier in the day last year. Now you have up until 15 minutes prior to your scheduled game time. And once you're on the roster and you have a game, you show up, you can check in with either a UI ID or a state-issued photo ID. In the past, teams had to select team t-shirt colors and all teammates had to wear that color t-shirt to their contests. Now we will provide pennies if your team does not have a team t-shirt. So you can still all wear the same color if you want to wear team t-shirts or have t-shirts made, but everybody on the team must be wearing the same color, otherwise your team will have to wear pennies, and those will be provided by the intramural sports staff. New this year, in fall 2013, women may play on either a men's team or a women's team, but not on both, and forfeit fines, should your team forfeit, will no longer be refunded. By now you are somewhat familiar with imleagues.com as you've made it to this point in the registration process, but imleagues.com is our website for registration and also some other aspects of our program. We will have league announcements on imleagues.com. You will add players to your roster through this website, and once registration closes, we will post schedules on this website. There are sport and rules information sheets for upcoming sports or sports that are a part of our program. To find those, as pictured on the screen, you can hover over the sport icon and then click handbooks and manuals on that sports homepage on imleagues.com. That'll give you access to sport rules and information sheets for upcoming sports or events or anything you want to check out. And once the season gets going, there will be updated standings and brackets once we get to playoffs that will all be found on imleagues.com. There's also a mobile application for mobile phone called Wreck-It. It is new this fall and it is the official mobile app of imleagues.com, so you can just download that app on iPhone or Android and download that app, log in with your imleagues.com username and password. You can get real-time updates from the Iowa intramural staff. You can chat with a team member so you don't have to do a group text if you all have this app. There's a team chat function and you can get your upcoming schedules and things like that all through this new Wreck-It mobile app. Participant conduct is an area of emphasis in our program. We expect all of our participants to display good sportsmanship. So if that's not happening, we will deal with that accordingly as an intramural staff and the officials on the game. And if there were to be a fight in any contest, any participant who is a part of that fight will be suspended from all recreational activities for at least 1 calendar year. That's everything in recreational services, fitness classes, sport clubs, intramural sports, aquatics, everything like that. A participant who participates in a fight will be suspended from all those activities. And we will pass those fighting incidents along to the Dean of Students office for possible further university sanctions. If someone is acting in an unsportsmanlike manner and our officials feel it is appropriate to eject that participant, that ejected player will be required to have a meeting with the intramural administrative staff, and the team captain must also attend that meeting. Both the team captain and the ejected player will be ineligible to participate until after that meeting has occurred, and the ejected player will be suspended at least 1 additional game. The captain, in most cases, will be made eligible immediately following the meeting, but the ejected participant will be suspended at least 1 additional game and further suspensions if the intramural staff deems that necessary. Every time you play, our officials will rate your team on a scale of 1 to 4 in regards to your sportsmanship. 1 is poor, 4 is good, so it's modeled just like a grade point average scale. Both teams will start each game at a 2.5 rating, and it is up to the teams to either work their way up to a 3 or a 4, which is on the good side, or it is possible for teams to work their way down to a 2 or a 1, which is on the bad side. If a team receives a 2, that team captain will be notified via email that they received a 2 and their sportsmanship needs to be better for the next contest. If a 1 is received by a team, that team captain will need to come in and meet with the intramural sports administrative staff to talk about the situation, how things can be improved, and how we can make sure this isn't an issue moving forward. Additionally, teams must maintain a 2.5 or better sportsmanship point average in order to qualify for the playoffs, and must maintain that throughout the playoffs in order to continue participating in the Indoor Futsal Playoff Tournament. So some tips on how to properly address officials, because perspective is reality. The officials inherently, because of the culture of being an official and in the sporting world, officials are automatically on the defensive. So it is up to the participants to be proactive in their communication with officials and make sure that there is no confusion about how they're addressing the official, that it is in a respective way. So some examples of good and bad interactions are on the screen. A good example is, sir or ma'am, can you tell me what you saw in that play so I can try avoid doing it again? We teach our officials to answer legitimate questions like that to help you understand if you got called for a violation, to help you understand how to avoid doing it again and what that official saw. A bad way to react is yelling, "How is that a foul?" Because that's not a legitimate question that's asked in a positive way. Another example of good interaction, "Sir, ma'am, what did I do wrong there?" A bad example, "Are you kidding me?" That's not going to elicit a positive response from our officials. So it's all about how you interact with them and being proactive in those interactions to make sure that they are positive for everybody involved. Our games are officiated by student intramural officials. They are your peers. They will be trained by the intramural staff. Some of them may have experience in our program or working soccer, which is very much related to futsal, obviously, outside of the intramural sports program, but some of them may be brand new. So please keep that in mind when you are participating, and we expect you to treat the officials with the respect that you expect to receive during the game. If you're disrespectful to them, they probably aren't going to be too friendly with you either. If you wish to be an official, we are always hiring for our different sports. We have a training taking place on Tuesday, October 7th at 6:30 p.m. at the Campus Recreation and Wellness Center, the CRWC, often referred to as the Rec or the New Rec, on Madison and Burlington Street. So if you're interested, come to that meeting. And the meeting will cover indoor futsal rules as well as on-court positioning and things like that. If you have never officiated for our program before, you must come in and watch a rookie meeting video that talks about the position, explains some requirements we have, things like that. If you are a veteran, you must come in and watch the veteran official video if you have not seen that or did not attend the meetings at the beginning of the fall 2014 semester. So some more specific rules about indoor futsal. Like we talked about before, new this year, players can be added to a team's roster until 15 minutes prior to a team's game, and that process goes through the quarterfinal playoff round. So you can add members to your team throughout the regular season until 15 minutes prior to the scheduled game time of your quarterfinal playoff game if your team advances that far in the playoff tournament. Please make sure you are checking imleagues.com frequently to make sure your roster is current and has no errors. There are times when eligibility status changes among participants on teams. They leave the university, they drop their classes, things like that. We don't want you to get caught with an ineligible participant on your team. So if you need to remove somebody from your team, you can submit a player drop request form, which is available in E216 Fieldhouse or on imleagues.com or on the Intramural Sports website. You complete it, you can email it to us, or you can drop it in the roster drop box outside of our office in E216 Fieldhouse. In indoor futsal, there will be 5 players on the court at one time per team. To start a match, you must have at least 4 players present. And for co-rec matches, that'll be 2 men and 2 women on the court. And the 5th person, the goalie, can be either male or female. It doesn't matter which. And there's no limit to the number of players that can be on your roster. So you can add as many people as you want. Just know that there will be a limit of 5 people per team on the court at one time. Those people can be University of Iowa students, faculty, or staff members, or they can be spouses or legally married partners, but they must play on the same team as their eligible spouse. So my wife can play on my indoor futsal co-rec team, but she cannot play on her own women's team because I'm obviously not on that team. So that is how the spouse eligibility process works. To add a spouse to the roster, you must submit a spouse addition form via email or in the Dropbox to our office. Those are available on our website and on imleagues.com. And a player may only represent one team in the men's or women's division and one team in the co-rec division. You cannot play on 2 single-gender teams. You cannot play on 2 co-rec teams. If a player enters a game on a second team, thus making that player ineligible for the remainder of the season, and any team that has an ineligible player on the roster will forfeit any games in which that player participates. So again, as team captain, make sure that you are checking on your team's eligibility and that this doesn't become an issue. An intercollegiate soccer player cannot participate on your indoor futsal team, and a former Division I intercollegiate soccer player must sit out 2 full semesters from playing Division I soccer in order to be eligible to participate in intramural indoor futsal. Once it's game time, you're scheduled to play, you arrive at the CRWC, you will need to check in with a state-issued photo ID or a university ID card. This is different from last year. It used to just be we would only allow a university ID. Now you can use a driver's license, a passport, anything that is state-issued and has your photo on it. You will check in with the intramural supervisor on duty at the MAC gym over at the CRWC, and that supervisor will get you ready to go. If you do not bring an ID, you cannot play. There are no exceptions to this. So captains, make sure you remind all your players to bring a state-issued or a university ID for every game. They need their university IDs to get into the Campus Recreation and Wellness Center, so they should have it anyway. If somebody uses a fake ID or uses an ID that's not theirs, this person is subject to suspension from intramural sports. We also reserve the right to discipline the individual supplying the ID as well as the team captain. So make sure that everything's on the up and up. People aren't misusing IDs, as we will also have to report this to the Dean of Students office for possible further university sanctions. Any team that is not ready to play within 10 minutes of their scheduled match time shall forfeit, and the captain of a forfeiting team will be fined half the registration fee, which for indoor futsal, that fine amounts to $25, and these fines will not be refunded. If you know you can't make a match, you can default, and to do that, to avoid a forfeit, you just need to let us know ahead of time. You need to let us know by 2 p.m. the day of the game, so 2 p.m. that Monday, that you will not be able to make the game. You don't have enough players that can play. There's a conflict, something like that. The first time you do that, there's no fine. Thanks for letting us know. We can contact the officials and let them know that they don't have a game at that hour. We can contact the other team, let them know that they don't need to show up. We can make adjustments based on knowing that your team will not be able to make it. The second time it happens, the captain will be fined 25% of the registration fee, because we want games to happen. We understand things come up and there are conflicts. That's why the first one there's no fine. We appreciate you letting us know. But as it continues to happen more and more, the fines increase. So if it happens a third time, that captain is fined 50% of the registration fee cost. And that, again, is non-refundable. Should there be a situation in which you want to protest a misinterpretation or misapplication of the rule, you can do that. No judgment calls may be protested, but if you get to a shootout and the official says there should only be 3 kicks when you know there should be 5 kicks, that can be protested, as that is a misapplication of the shootout rule. In order to do that, you have to call a timeout immediately, get the supervisor involved. The supervisor will hear the situation. The supervisor will make a ruling. If you still do not agree with that ruling from the supervisor on site, you can submit a written protest along with $5 to the intramural office by noon the business day following the game, and the intramural administrative staff will hear the protest and will make a decision. If your protest is upheld, meaning you were right and our staff on site was wrong, we'll go back and play the rest of the game from the point of the protest. If you were wrong, we will keep your $5 and the game will stand as was originally played at the game site. Once registration closes, we will get team schedules put together, and those will be posted by Wednesday, October 8th, and games will begin on Monday, October 13th. Those games will be at the Campus Recreation and Wellness Center, like we talked about, in the MAC gym on Monday nights and Monday nights only. As we round out the regular season, league standings will be updated on imleagues.com the Tuesday after every night of matches, so you can check out how other teams are doing, what the standings are in your divisions, things like that. And the top 2 teams in each division of 4 will qualify for the playoff tournament that takes place after the regular season has concluded. When you go to play, jewelry must be removed. You cannot wear bracelets, any visible piercings, rings, necklaces, anklets, rubber bands, anything like that must be taken off before you can participate in intramural indoor futsal. The only exception to this is a medical alert bracelet or necklace. That must be taped down, and you must notify the intramural supervisor on duty that that is the case, so we know that that is permissible in that situation. Again, it is the responsibility of the team captain to make each of his or her teammates aware of the rules of the game as well as intramural rules. Our indoor futsal games will consist of 2 12-minute halves with running clock and no injury time. The clock will stop on all fouls or any dead balls in the last minute of both halves and of overtime, should the game be tied at the end of regulation. And we do have a mercy rule for those games that aren't too competitive, and that mercy rule is if a team is ahead by 8 or more goals with 2 minutes or less remaining in the game, that game will be ended due to the mercy rule. To start, there will be a coin toss or rock, paper, scissors or something of the sort. The winning team will choose which goal it will defend in the first half, and the losing team will kick off in the first half. And then in the second half, teams will switch sides, and the original coin toss winner will kick off starting the second half. Any and all substitutions must be made through the substitution gate at the midline at the MAC gym at the CRWC, and these may only occur when a team's goalie is in control of the ball and has requested a substitution timeout. Once that timeout has been called, either team may substitute, so it's not just the team in control of the ball. A team is allowed unlimited substitution timeouts, so you can make as many substitutions as you want. And the substitutes outside the court need to ask the official to signal a timeout. There will be an additional official outside of the field of play or the court of play that will have a substitution flag to signal to the goalkeeper and the other officials that a substitution is requested. And additionally, the offended team can sub on any penalty. So if there's a penalty called on the other team, my team can then substitute if we wish, because there's a dead ball at that time. The offending team, so the team that got called for the penalty, can only sub if the offended team chooses to sub during that dead ball period. At the MAC gym, the ball is out of bounds only when the ball has hit any part of the ceiling, lights, hoops, gone over the plexiglass divider, or gone onto the track. It is an enclosed court, but there are limitations to that enclosure, and the ball will be out of bounds when it hits any of those things or goes out of the playing area. So the opposing team of the team that kicks or last touches the ball out of bounds will receive an indirect free kick at the spot closest to where that ball went out of bounds. When the goalie controls the ball, he or she can make a goal clearance throw. That throw must be made from the penalty area and may not pass the midline of the court unless it is touched by a member of either team prior to doing so. A goal kick is allowed to travel past the midline, but that is obviously different than a goal clearance throw, and the keeper cannot possess the ball for more than 5 seconds. So that count will start by the officials as soon as that keeper controls the ball, so make sure to tell your goalkeepers to get rid of it rather quickly. Some direct free kick fouls include kicking, tripping, jumping on or charging an opponent, striking or pushing an opponent, handling, carrying, striking, or propelling the ball intentionally with his or her arm. Obviously, this rule does not apply to the goalkeeper. Some indirect free kick fouls include playing in a dangerous manner, intentionally obstructing an opponent, charging the goalkeeper outside the penalty area, and an illegal substitution. Some violations may result in a yellow card. Some examples, but not an exhaustive list of examples, are a substitution violation will result in a yellow card. Persistent infringement of rules, again, we need you to make sure you know the sport rules and are abiding by them. Arguing the decision of the officials and not acting in a sportsmanlike manner will both result in yellow cards. And time-wasting tactics, if you're just trying to get that clock to read 0 while you still have a lead and you're wasting time, that can be subject to a yellow card. Some red card offenses, which a red card means an ejection. Serious foul play, violent conduct or fighting, persistent use of foul, abusive language, or receiving 2 yellow cards in the same game will result in a red card and an ejection. Once ejected, that player may not re-enter the game, nor may he or she sit on the team bench. That person needs to leave the vicinity of the game. A red card will result in an indirect free kick for the offended team, and the offending team, the team with the player ejected, must play down a player for the remainder of the game. And if there is more than 1 red card issued to the same team in one game, that team will automatically lose and be marked for a default. If the game goes into overtime, it's tied at the end of regulation, there will be a 5-minute golden goal period. So if one team scores in overtime, the game is automatically over and that team that scored has won. If the game remains tied at the end of overtime, the game will proceed to a shootout. That shootout will work in this manner. There will be 5 kicks made by any 5 players in an alternating order. So any 5 players on each team can take those kicks. Teams will alternate who shoots when and go back and forth. If it's still tied at the end of 5 kicks for each team, teams will alternate 1 kick until the tie is broken. Your first 5 kickers cannot kick again until everybody on that team roster and signed in has kicked. As a part of our intramural sports program, we have the Buffalo Wild Wings Intramural Sports Points Championship. This is not only for indoor futsal, but for all of our sports. And teams are awarded points for their participation in each sport. So the more sports you play, the more points you get. If you keep the same team name throughout both semesters, your team will accumulate points. At the end of the year, we will award champions in the men's, women's, fraternity, sorority, and co-rec divisions. So there are 5 Buffalo Wild Wings Intramural Sports Points champions. Those teams receive a championship trophy, a $100 gift card to Buffalo Wild Wings in downtown Iowa City, and Buffalo Wild Wings champion t-shirts for up to 20 members. So if it's something you want to pursue, play a lot of intramural sports, keep the same team name, you will accumulate those points throughout the year. We'll post updates on our website, things like that, so you know where you're at in the standings, and make a run for the Buffalo Wild Wings Intramural Sports Points Championship. Now that you've made it almost all the way through the Indoor Futsal Captains video, I want to make sure you know the registration requirements. You must pass the Captains Quiz that is associated with this video. You can use the sport rules and regulations, the program rules and regulations in this Captains video to complete that quiz. You must meet the minimum player requirement during the registration period. Once you've met the minimum player requirement, you can pay the registration fee on imleagues.com via PayPal. Then you must select a division, and all this must be completed by 11:59 p.m. on Tuesday, October 7th for your registration for indoor futsal to complete. So make sure you do not forget a step, and if you have any questions, you can let us know, but that deadline is 11:59 p.m. on Tuesday, October 7th. If you're looking for more players to add to your team, we will hold a free agent meeting on Tuesday, October 7th at 2 p.m. in room 201 of the Fieldhouse. At this meeting, captains can meet free agents to add them to their team rosters, or free agents that don't have a team can connect with team captains, or they can join together to form a team and get registered for indoor futsal. As a part of our intramural sports program, we have a Friday night series of events. These events are free, one Friday night every month, and in some select months there will be more than one. But in the fall semester we have kickball, bowling, and mini golf, team handball, and canoe battleship. Again, these are free events on Friday nights. You can check out our website for more information on these and what some of these unique events include, and what the activity is and how to play these different sports or events and things like that. In the spring semester we'll have wiffle ball, inner tube water polo, volleyball, late night softball, and canoe battleship. So again, free fun events on Friday nights throughout the school year and throughout each semester for you to take part in. We've reached the end of the Intramural Indoor Futsal Captains video. If you have any questions about indoor futsal or anything related to the intramural sports program, please do not hesitate to give us a call at 319-335-9292, or you can email us at intramural-sports@uiowa.edu. You can always follow us on Twitter at Iowa Intramurals. We post registration deadlines, upcoming sports, fun things like that. And we have a Facebook page that you can friend us on Facebook. Just search Iowa Intramurals and join us or add us as a friend to keep up to date on everything going on in Iowa Intramurals. So again, contact us if you have questions. Thank you for viewing this video, and good luck in the Intramural Indoor Futsal season.